Me too. Now all I have to do is master this like sweet new soundboard with lots of air horns and so we can
Matt and Rob in the morning.
We have guests on, interrupt them.
D&D Zoo Crew.
The D&D Zoo Crew from Paylor's Sunrise. Oh yeah.
We got a beholder on, and we ask him, "What can you really see with all those eyes?" Hey.
we ask our local Illithid Calabraxos to eat in 30 minutes 50 human brains without performing seromorphism. Will he die holding it in? All for tickets to the astral plane.
Yeah. It's a real monster show. Pay for the whole ticket, but you're only pay for the whole seat, but you're only gonna need the edge.
Yeah, you fucked that one up there, Rob.
I really did fuck that one up.
Ooh.
What?
Okay.
I was gonna make an invisible stalker joke, but then it got creepy.
Yeah. Are you saying that the morning zoo crew is a sort of problematic institution as a whole?
Never. The morning zoo crew is a time-honored American tradition, a staple of middle American culture. There's nothing good or bad to be said about them one way or another.
And good morning. I'm Matt Derwinski, and this is Robert Guthrie, and this is All Roles Considered, coming to you live from Culver City, California. Today,
on the program today,
Trump,
on the program today, we have Morten Kaisen, who's come to talk about his new treatise on mystic and arcane arts. He's going to do a reading from his book. It's going to take 45 minutes, and you're going to forget where you are, and it's going to be terrific. Hopefully you're driving, and it will help you forget your interminable commute.
Hello, I'm Ira Glass. Today, on this Dungeon Life, we have the story of 3 paladins who are struggling to follow their paladin code. I don't have anything else where to go with this. You need to pick this up.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty good Ira Glass voice, Matt. I'm Jad Abumrad.
Just got to have the
and today we've got
vocal fry.
Vocal fry. Right. See, if I start doing Radiolab, then you're gonna have to figure out how to do all their weird effects, and then that's
I can't stand late Radiolab. My God, it's just it's too many.
We'll end this riff exit.
Riff exit. Put on some Rat-a-tat, and that's an NPR podcast, folks.
You never know if it could change your life. Take a chance, you're neither wrong or right. You never know if you don't roll and dice.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rob, and this is Dungeon Master of None, in case you didn't know that and are sitting through our totally awesome podcast and radio riffs. This is Matt. Hi, Matt.
Hey, we're here. We're going to do some fun stuff that a couple people have been requesting today. Should help you new DMs out.
Yeah, we're gonna go behind the screen and show you guys meticulous and thoughtful and keen process that we take when we're building an adventure or planning out a session. Hopefully, this will both dispel some myths and give you some idea of how the process looks, and hopefully give you some ideas of your own. If once we're done here, if Matt and I have done our jobs, then we will also hopefully have a short either introductory or one-shot adventure that you can nab, probably mostly for use with Mordenkainen's. We're going to do something Planescapey, but something that you can adapt to anything you want.
Oh yeah. And so and this is before we get down to the nitty-gritty, a little philosophical question for you, Rob. When you start planning an adventure or a campaign arc or a one shot for your players, whether it's Dungeons and Dragons or another system, how do you begin? I have some ideas, but what's the first thing that you want to get down or accomplish?
So this is interesting. So we've talked about this before in our previous shows about what's inspiration or what inspires you. And for a longer campaign, I want to explore themes and ideas and questions, usually something that I think is not being addressed very well in existing material. But for a one shot or for a bounded adventure, I'm mostly asking, I'm trying to what story am I trying to tell? What is the arc of this tale? Sort of like a
right. What do you want your players to do?
Exactly. What do they what do I want?
Respond to?
I would say what I want them to experience. Right. What are they? Yeah. What situation are they being thrust into? What story are they participating in? And so, Matt, you have a great one, which I'm still excited for you to finish. The Bards are back in town.
Bards are back in town. It's been half play tested, so we're getting there.
A party of bards washed up, getting the band back together. I love it. That's the story that you want to tell. So yeah,
we're on a mission from the Raven Queen.
Yeah. So I usually ask, what is this little vignette? What is this little story that the players are going to be dropped into? And I usually try to ask myself, like, what can I satisfyingly address in a single session? And usually it takes the form of a heist or a short mystery.
What sort of fun things that your players will enjoy experiencing will they have the chance to do? Whether it's to do some combat, some sort of social kind of interactions, exploring a mystery, a new area, uncovering a technological or a magical secret. And I think you already hinted at what my idea is for today. So I got 2 ideas, right? You got to know like where you got to set it, and then what sort of the main idea is for a short adventure or a one-shot or a very small part of our campaign arc. And here's mine for this time. It's a heist. All right? We love Planescape. Here's the hook. The players have to steal a powerful artifact. Always go for a MacGuffin if you don't know what to do. MacGuffins are great. The players have to steal a powerful artifact from twist. Mount Celestia, the heavens, from good people.
I like it. Okay, so I like this already. Matt hasn't told me anything about this. But as you well
guessed
know,
my hook, which was heist. I love heist.
I know. So. Matt and I have both played.
I was watching that Ocean's 8 trailer.
It looks good. Yeah,
I'm gonna fucking do a heist.
Matt and I have both played Shadowrun together, and we're big fans, as we talked about in the setting. And yeah, heists are fun, great for one shots. I like this a lot because it's a great opportunity to give either just off the top of my head, give an evil party or your standard chaotic neutral murder hobo party a chance to really like stretch their wings and do something that they wouldn't normally get to do in a standard adventure. No, I would say you probably...
And so we could write this as just for an evil party, or we could put a hook in there that there would be a reason for a good party to accomplish this.
I think that we can find a compelling reason for any party of any alignment to do this, but I think this would be appealing, especially to players who tend towards the evil or chaotic or are looking for a chance to try that out because for obvious reasons. And, they're snooty, stuck-up gods up there in Mount Celestia. There's absolutely no reason why, anybody wouldn't find a good reason to go steal something from them.
Yeah, and we can come back to that reason later.
Yeah.
So once we start with a hook or something like that, like the players have to steal something from heaven. And Mount Celestia is like one of those planes where like the souls of good people go and hang out and have a great time after they die, along with angels in a perfect paradise. Up there with like a Las Vegas casino, I think it's a pretty interesting place to have to pickle something out of. So now we have to just answer like, what is the item? Who wants it? Maybe it's the players. Maybe it's an NPC. What are some of the challenges they're gonna have to encounter? What sort of decisions might come up as they get the item or return with the item? So we might pick a starting location. We might start designing the sort of safe house this item's in, or something like that. Where do you want to go next?
Well, so let's first decide. Well, let's do some like nuts and bolts, Matt. What level adventure are you picturing this as being? What level are our players?
I am thinking, so I can imagine 2 routes for this, right? So we mentioned on our last episode, Mordenkainen has lots of monsters and encounters for high-level players. Designing for them is always a little tougher, and specifically, I'm interested in getting some players who are new and into the Planescape setting. So I'm thinking lower level, not first level, maybe third through fifth.
I like
what about
that.
you?
I think that's a good idea. It basically removes like a heavy combat option because they'll get their asses kicked by even like the janitor in Mount Celestia. So that'll force them to
there
think.
can still be opportunities for combat.
There will still be combat, but it will mean that it takes the option of running and gunning,
direct brute force,
just like completely off the table. So I like that. I say third level. Let's make it low. Let's make it interesting, right? Let's make them get creative.
So it is done. They are now third level.
Let's talk about what they're trying to get, and this can really be anything. In the planes, people are usually after information or knowledge or some sort of I would say let's have it be something like information based. How do you feel about that, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like a book or a scroll or a tome or even
a book.
They have to speak to a soul. They have to speak to a soul to find out something that soul knows. Oh, I like that.
Or, it could be something the soul knows, or it could be the soul of someone themselves, right? Preserved forever for the enrichment of other petitioners to the upper planes so that they can bask in his or her perfect goodness, preserved forever it could be in a book, it could be in a chalice, an egg, an orb. I was just thinking having a physical thing that can be bobbled around,
something that it should be something that they can pick up and carry and sneak
but it's
out.
Valuable because of the information it contains.
So somebody's soul, somebody important, somebody significant, or
how about this? I'm actually thinking of playing up the good angle,
okay.
And who doesn't get used a lot as high level characters? Players are often, it's the mad wizard or the ultimate priest of whatever god, but there's not a lot of monks up there. What about like a perfectly enlightened monk
like a
who,
great
when they
guru.
were enlightened, they hold the secrets of the multiverse in their mind?
Sure,
that's an idea.
A sensei or a guru, somebody whose soul is preserved in a bauble somewhere in Mount Celestia for people to interact with or draw wisdom from, and they have to nab it so that it's perhaps his wisdom can be shared with all, or his wisdom can be sold to the highest bidder, up to them,
or used for destructive ends.
Exactly. Okay, I like that. So a great sage, a guru, a monk, a sensei has his soul, his or her soul, in a nice little, I don't know, let's call it an egg or a sphere or an orb somewhere up in Mount Celestia.
A perfect. I mean, if we want to get a little Orientalist, a perfect lotus blossom, a golden lotus.
Ooh, that would be good. Yeah, like a beautiful, immaculate lotus flower. That would be good.
The soul. So the players have to go steal the soul lotus of Guru. Helping me out with the names here.
Sorry, I'm thinking. I'm trying to remember. Guru.
We can always cut. This is the best part. We get to cut this out.
Yeah, well, I don't want to just like pick like a Chinese or Japanese name out of the air and get all, like we said, Orientalist on it.
Guru Kyle. Kabir.
Sure. Okay, I like that.
Actual guru.
That's a great name. Actually, that was what I was going to do. I was trying to remember some like the naming conventions from Forgotten Realms is like Eastern continent, but they all suck. Anyway, Guru Kabir.
Okay, so we already have like, this is a little like, it's a pretty enticing name kind of thing, right? The golden soul lotus of Guru Kabir.
So here's what I'm thinking, and this is maybe getting a little twisty, but maybe the players don't need to know exactly what it is they're stealing. This is a key element of a lot of heist movies.
Ooh.
So maybe they're asked to.
They're just stealing a flower.
Just a beautiful flower, and then they can choose to try to find out. And then once they know, they can either steal the flower and use it for their own ends, or use this leverage to get extra goodies out of whoever hired them. This is a classic Shadowrun trick. So feel free to. This could make it complicated. This risks turning your one shot into something else entirely if they choose to just like rat out their employer to the good guys or something like that. But it could add a very interesting twist and give your players a little bit of agency that they might not otherwise have.
Okay, I like this. Here's what I'm feeling is so they're hired to get, and I'm going to assume that the players, because they're not demons or slods or archmages
or
they're just regular third level people, they don't detect evil from paladins, right? They're not powerful enough from that, whether they're good or bad, that they can get into heaven maybe a little more easily than whoever's hiring them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like
and
that.
They're hired to steal a flower, which is the golden soul lotus of Guru Kabir, but they don't know that. So this makes us ask the question, who's launching them on this quest, or what information do they discover, or what NPC asks them to get this for them? Where are they launching from? Because I'm going to assume they're maybe not already dead in Mount Celestia. They're probably in the material plane. Or
for my money, I think the clear choice is Sigil, and it's an agent of the Lady of Pain. Not the Lady of Pain herself, but it's somebody working for her who wants them to steal this flower on behalf of the Lady of Pain.
Agent of the Lady of Pain. This is perfect for a Sigil campaign. Now, I would say, I'm going to put this in here. If your players aren't in Sigil, this is the person who brings them to Sigil, right? And this is perhaps they want them to get this flower in exchange for, rescuing them from their own small existence on their own world's material plane, right? When they could be in Sigil. So this agent of the Lady of Pain took the players to Sigil, and it's like, oh, here, I brought you here for this quest. Or the players could be trying to get home or get out of Sigil, find a portal somewhere. Whatever the reason, that we could come up with a couple hooks why the players would accept a quest from an agent of the Lady of Pain.
I do like the idea of they're just like regular old prime material third level players, and they're in a tavern because they think this is a regular old one-shot adventure, and they're in a tavern and they're approached by somebody who's definitely not, normal tavern patron, and he or she invites them to a special opportunity which takes them to the city of Sigil, where they are offered this very interesting chance to make a name for themselves and endear themselves to the Lady of Pain.
Yeah, like the reward for returning this flower could be, some sweet digs in Sigil.
Sweet digs in Sigil, yep.
It could be several portal keys so that they could begin to move freely throughout the multiverse.
Some sort of other boon, mechanical or power-wise for the Lady of Pain. Could be a lot of things. Be very valuable to her.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, the Lady of Pain could want I could imagine the Lady of Pain bestowing on the players indirectly the same types of boons that you might use from gods or arch demons or devils, a stat boost, a spell-like ability, blade ward cantrip known by all, or blade barrier, something a little nicer than that, perhaps.
You want to be careful giving this stuff out, but you could do an awful lot of interesting things. You could offer some very tantalizing prizes to the players that accomplish this. But all right, let's get down to brass tacks. I think we've got sufficient motivations and the general shape of the plot.
There's one other thing I want to add, because we mentioned demons and devils. You talked about adding twists, and you don't want to add too many twists, but we got to add, because it's a Planescape campaign, we got to add this twists either in Mount Celestia, or in wherever they go to get this Lotus, or in Sigil. The players have the opportunity to meet with agent of one or two archdemons or devils who are also willing to bargain for the Lotus once the players have returned with it. So that when the players return, they can choose to give the Lotus to the Lady of Pain, which might be essential for her to protect herself in Sigil, right? The good gods would overrun Sigil even if they found out what secrets were held in the Lotus. But they could also give it to one side or the other in the blood war, forever tipping its balance.
Ooh, I like this. I think that's a good twist. I think it's easy to manage and makes sense and shouldn't slow the game down too much at all. I think that's I think they should receive a counter offer or a competing offer and be given an opportunity to make that change.
And this could be introduced. This could be something it could happen in Sigil. It could happen sort of in middle of the heist, so that players have to really think on the fly what they're going to do. Or it could even happen when they return. Okay, yes, let's get down to brass tacks.
All right, so this is what we need to start thinking about, and this is how. So when you're planning a one shot, you need to think about, you're going to plan it around, and Matt, you feel free to correct me if you think about this differently, but you want to plan it around 1 to 2 encounters, right? Maybe up to 3. So what are our key? Maybe they don't have to be encounters. Let's call them scenes that could be encounters. There should be one, I think, that's probably combat. There should be some combat in this campaign, but.
So with a Planescape heist, right, I think there's basically 3 distinct parts in our emerging adventure. One, there's the sort of call for adventure. The players learn about, hey, there's this thing that we maybe, and the reason this has happened is Guru Kabir has just died, right? So his soul has just ascended to Mount Celestia, full of its knowledge of the secrets of the multiverse. So there's the first part, the call. There's the second part, the heist, and there's the third part where the players return and they, give it to the agent of the Lady of Pain. They keep it for themselves. They give it to a demon or a devil. They return it to the gods of good, something like that, right? So there's 3 parts for 2 or 3 encounters. So you really want one encounter for the call and leaving, 1 encounter for the return, and you probably want, most of your mapping of what's going to happen to be in that center section of the heist, right?
Right.
So that's where I would start to begin planning.
Great. Okay, let's start there then. One thing I like to do, so this is my thing for my one shots. I like to have, and I think this is because it's usually ignored and it's not in a lot of one shots. I like to have a structured or challenging social encounter. I think that's underutilized and underplayed in a lot of Dungeons and Dragons adventures. And so what I'm thinking is that they're given a tool, something, they're given a portal key to get to Celestia, and they're given some sort of excuse or letter to get them in by the Lady of Pain's agent. But
I like where this is going.
But they meet some sort of stickler for rules, maybe like a St. Peter type, who's at the gates of Mount Celestia, and they have to talk their way past him. This is like their first challenge. Is the papers they have don't work, or they don't work quite right, and so they have to think on their feet. They have to use their social skills or persuasion or deception or something to try to talk their way past this guardian. I think that should be like sort of like the opening roles for the adventure.
Oh, I am loving this idea of the players, and correct me if I'm wrong. Should they be going to the neutral good heaven, or maybe they should be going to the lawful good heaven if it's
what's
a stickler for the rules?
Oh, good question. Aren't they all on Mount Celestia?
Okay, no, I had it right. Yeah, Mount Celestia is the lawful good heaven.
Great. Okay.
So yeah. The keeper of the gates of Mount Celestia they come out of some portal right there. They're at the literal pearly gates.
Pearly gates, yeah.
And they have to get by the keeper of the gates. I would say we could even mix this up a bit, because I want to make sure there's a chance for multiple approaches to this thing. What sort of, perhaps they arrive and there's some sort of exciting event happening at the pearly gates. We could even tie it to our MacGuffin, right? The players know they're looking for a beautiful lotus flower. Perhaps the agent of the Lady of Pain tells them the lady needs it to survive, right? He lies. It's just a thing that will cure her illness or an illness of a friend. Maybe they don't even know he's an agent of the Lady of Pain. But this event that's happening at the gates gives the players some clues that some shakeup has happened recently in Mount Celestia, and clue to the flower's true nature. So perhaps they arrive and there's this stickler for the rules, a solar angel guarding the pearly gates, but they're not the only ones waiting outside. Perhaps there are 100 souls that were followers of Guru Kabir. Mm-hmm. And they're all trying to get in to follow and accompany their master's soul in perfection.
I like that. The obvious choice will be, to try to just use their letter of passage or whatever and try to get in and then talk their way through. But maybe they could also sneak their way around, try to use the distraction to slip in unnoticed with another group, or they can try to it would give them multiple approaches to dealing with this sudden closure of the gates to petitioners.
They could attempt to disguise themselves as a fellow follower of this guru, this monk. They could attempt, as you said, to sneak in with them. They could attempt to fast talk. Maybe I would give this keeper of the gates some sort of, fairly obvious weakness that if they spent some time poking around, they might be able to use it against him or her.
Something obvious like vanity or, pride. Stick to one of those, classic sins, that, good people fall prey to that they can take advantage of. Maybe it's a very, very beautiful angel, and they just need to do a very good job of complimenting his hair. I don't know.
Right.
Something like that.
I mean, this is minimum security heaven, and I think the agent should state this. Listen, this is more like heaven camp. It's not, it's not heaven prison. This is level 1 of Mount Celestia. It's not the 7th heaven, for Pelor's sake. So, I mean, it's minimum security. They can probably get in. I like the idea of this angel as a Instagram.
Taking D&D selfies. Yeah.
And I like the idea of a bunch of confused petitioners. I feel like we could go a little silly with them. We could have them all as sort of mindless fanboy groupies of the guru who all just killed themselves to try and follow him.
I'm thinking of Wild Wild Country and the followers.
I have been watching Wild Wild Country. It's weighing heavily on my mind, right? The petitioners have already started like a dance.
They're already dancing.
Dance circle. They're practicing their martial arts. They're
Yeah. So what we'll put in the actual one shot, may vary, but there's a lot of places you can go with this. You can play it fun. You can play it serious. But yeah, I like the idea of. There's a sudden arrival of petitioners, and this can, if the players are keen and paying attention, maybe give them a clue as to what's about to happen or what they're involved with.
Yeah, sudden arrival of petitioners, and then I think all we would need to do is come up with 3 or 4 petitioners that the dungeon master can pull out of their hat if the players choose the route of spending lots of time talking to them. And one could be, just a complete devotee of the guru. One could be a monk who is immortal like them still, but just plain shifted to the planes because he wants to, speak with the guru's soul. This would be a great opportunity to introduce a Gith Zerai into your campaign.
I like that. Oh, that would be terrific. Yeah, have a plane shifting Gith Zerai who was there to try to speak to the guru. Yeah, I think that's a terrific idea.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Right,
so we've got something. So that's encounter 1, and as you're saying, we need about 3 encounters. Now this is a heist. Get in, grab the goods, get out. Let's talk about the goods. So the simple flower they were asked to retrieve, which is in fact the soul lotus of Guru Kabir. What is it? Ensconced in, surrounded by, protected by.
Well, I think you're right that this is level 1. This is this is minimum security Celestia. for a variety of reasons. Maybe what's here isn't all that valuable, and maybe also they aren't used to people trying to steal things from the heavens. So
I would play this up as I would go straight with the portrayal of heaven. Like, it's an actual paradise.
Right.
Like,
it's
people are eating the best meals. The sunlight in the grass
people
are
lounging,
perfect.
being fed grapes. There's great white pillars, and
they're fucking. There's a lot of like beautiful things happening.
Everybody gets drunk, but they never get hungover. It's just there's like a there's a Star Trek episode like this. Anyway, just
So there actually I would put that as an optional side encounter, which is that players can easily get distracted by actual paradise.
Right.
And if you have new players or old players, in my experience, love indulging in the fantasy of, yes, my player would absolutely, if they could get drunk and not hungover, drink the perfect wine that grow from the immaculate grapes on the hillside.
And just thinking about this, I think you should probably stipulate that whatever let's say they have a letter of passage from whoever the Lady of Pain is pretending to be, and it has a time limit, right? They're there for a day or something. So, so your players can't just say, well, I'm in heaven, I'm going to stay here. Well, which would be for certain characters, a very valid thing to say. So make sure that
you're losing your character to heaven is
that's true. Actually,
worse bad than losing your character to the fires of hell. For the purpose of plays, your character's dead. You could drop hints, have another mortal character there, where they're frolicking and enjoying paradise, and they ask them how long that character's been there, and they're like, oh, well, I've been eating roast duck for the last 500 years. Everyone I know and loved and cared about on the material plane is dead. I'd like to leave, but I actually can't because everything's too nice.
So, all right. So they're traveling through paradise. Make sure
optional that, encounter, getting distracted by paradise.
Make sure you play up as much as you feel like. Describe your own image of paradise. Have fun with it. And then let's say
we'll come up with some options there.
Let's say there's a big, great, Greek-style Acropolis hall, and it's full of objects. They're not all lotuses. Some of them are spheres. Some of them are, golden trinkets. Some of them are, pearls or orbs or whatever. And this is where Guru Kabir's soul lotus is being held. I guess let's say either they're temporarily until he is assigned a spot, or just this is where souls live for a while. Yeah. Feel free to speculate as much as you like on the metaphysics of a soul lotus, right. But it's a little. Let's say that it's in this.
Call this for now the Acropolis of Enlightenment, yes. Right? Where mortals, at least for a little while, are. And this could be 1,000,000 years, right? The time doesn't really matter. Are preserved for a little while for the benefit of other petitioners,
right?
Particularly
so I'm imagining
righteous.
Something like a little bit like the Hall of Faces from Game of Thrones. A bunch of little niches, except not so gloomy and horrifying, but with light and sunlight, but the same sort of like holy space with a lot of little nooks with a bunch of perhaps it's very, very tall or very, very deep, or Guru Kabir's soul lotus is in here somewhere, and they have to find it and retrieve it.
Yeah, and this is just a reminder, this is Planescape. The outer planes are highly mutable. Things can be bigger on the inside than the out. Perhaps from the outside, this looks much like a simple peasant's shrine, but on the inside is a acropolis of full of wonders from 1,000 mortal worlds. So there are perhaps other treasures in here, right, that the players can steal, which is always fun.
So I think the challenge here. So I think that it would not make a whole lot of sense for them to have to really compete with any like denizens of the plains here. So the real challenge is to find what they're looking for, steal it without being noticed, and get out, rather than trying to rig up an elaborate set of pulleys or something to try to trick a security system. There's probably no security here whatsoever, because again, they would never consider anyone stealing a soul And that just doesn't happen on Mount
Right.
Celestia.
What use could the soul actually have?
Precisely.
They'll find out later. So I heard 3 things: find, steal, get out. I think we can make 3 short challenges, encounters, obstacles based around those 3 things.
If it were my players, I would say, that Guru Kabir's soul is here, and you have to find it. And I would let them figure it out from there. I can think of a few ways how they might do that. There's, 3rd level. There's always locate object.
That's level 2.
That's a level 2
Someone
spell.
might have that.
There's also, they can just smooth talk the docent, the curator. They'll find somebody who knows and try to discreetly inquire as to the location of Guru Kabir's soul, or they can just fan out and look for it. And if the space is infinite, that might not work, but you can give them some hints or some help somewhere. Maybe they find a directory. You can make this as hard or as difficult or hard as easy as you want it to be, I think.
I like my idea of on the inside, it's bigger than the outside. So if they learn something from the petitioners of the guru at the gates, they might learn, that this particular mortal soul reached enlightenment on a mountaintop in the fresh fallen snow. So they might, wander around inside until they see snow falling, or they might look and head in the coldest direction in the hallways of the Acropolis of Enlightenment. Or if the, guru was in fact a drow and he found enlightenment at the roots of the earth, they might take every passage that goes down.
This would also be a fun opportunity for a riddle. Maybe, maybe the docent doesn't want them to direct them to the guru until they've demonstrated that they have sufficient wisdom. So they have to answer, a riddle or a cone or something like that, or perhaps something they
answer a cone.
Yeah.
You're not very enlightened, are you, Rob?
I actually have done this in many of my...
you've answered a cone.
No, I haven't answered it.
The most interesting dungeon master in the world.
I have put cones into many of my games to frustrate my players. It's one of my favorite things to do because they don't have answers. This is why Matt is mocking me, because cones don't have answers.
His players thank him for rolling a 1.
Yeah. He is the only dungeon master who knows what the sound of one-hand clapping is.
He knows what caused the Mornland and would do it again if he would.
Anyway,
is the most interesting man in the world, or a Chuck Norris dungeon master?
I like the idea of maybe they got a hint from, if they talked to the petitioners outside, they can direct them to this infinite space. But I would say when we write this up, we'll leave it a little bit loose, and feel free to structure this however you like. Just make your players think this through, because there is an answer here. There are ways to find this information, but it is not easily available.
I would say I think the only thing I would add to the interior of our Acropolis of the Enlightenment is I would start my first description with it being extremely vast, like infinitely branching hallways. When the players, however, start to walk down one, they might find it is, for example, thought morphic based on what they're all thinking. They can sort of map out a territory. We might actually do a little general mapping here, I think, is a good idea.
I think some mapping would be good.
So I imagine the players are walking through. They think on the lesson they learned from the petitioners or the riddle they solved from the docent who's at the door, that's our, I think, 6th NPC we need to make. I'm keeping track, don't worry. I can imagine a little ball of light or something, one of those lantern archons or something.
Lantern archon would be good.
Just, kind of a, like that annoying little robot from Halo or something.
A peppy little friendly robot.
Yeah, he's super nice. I would say now they've, they thought on the riddle and they approached, and then out of nowhere, sitting alongside a peaceful brook flowing into a muddy pond is the most perfect platonic ideal of a lotus flower.
So this is the second encounter here, little mini encounter. They need to find out how to take it. Nobody, I think, is watching this flower, You know, again, this place doesn't have guards, so it's up to them whether or not they want to just pluck it, whether they want to try to maybe replace it Indiana Jones style, whether or not they have some sort of other approach to avoid being detected. Matt, do you think that there should be some sort of, I don't know, alarm system, or should we just present it and then let the player... Again, if it were my group, I would just present it and let them overthink it, because they would do that every single time, and I enjoy that thoroughly. But
we haven't had an obvious combat encounter.
I was thinking
yet.
that too.
Yeah. Though they could also, there's certainly nothing stopping an evil party from murdering some of the petitioners at the gate, taking their place. There's nothing stopping an evil party from killing our friendly little docent. But I think an obvious combat encounter is always good for the parties who want to avoid combat.
Yes.
And, there may be a way around it, but I can imagine two types of guardians in the Acropolis of Enlightenment. I could imagine a wandering keeper that would question the players if they stumble out of the way and perhaps see their minds and confront them. Or I could imagine some sort of protector of this particular soul, an angel or something that's required to guard this mortal soul.
I'm thinking so. Yeah, I think so too. I'm thinking something like a martial arts construct. Some sort of low-level golem that is there, staff-wielding. Could also just...
Ninja angel.
Something sufficiently interesting and challenging, but not, solar or something like that. Something that the players can conceivably defeat.
I could also imagine, right, this is heaven, right? It could be the perfect... it is in a pond. They could be a perfect... I always like the froghemoth as a encounter for lower level players, or some sort of giant toad, a thing that might spit acid, has some tentacles, has a tongue that traps and pulls things. I think a celestial froghemoth, right? Its eye just floating above the surface, watching them, and if they try and take the lotus, its tentacles come out, its tongue comes out. It's a beautiful frog. It's a sexy frog. It's a perfect frog.
It's a majestic frog that will try to eat them. I love Matt's idea. If it were me, I would do something more boring. I would probably have the souls of other monks defend it. So it would be an encounter with with an equal number of relatively leveled monks. This used to be a very interesting encounter in Pathfinder because you give them all different styles, but in you can still kind of do that in 5th edition. Actually, you can have one be a Sun Soul monk and one be a Shadow monk and one be a Elements monk, and then they have to defeat these monks of the Four Winds or whatever to get to the Master Soul. But I like
here's a compromise for you. Here's a compromise for you, Rob.
Frog monk?
The celestial froghemoth attacks if they remove the lotus, right? Ooh. And it attacks no matter what sort of fancy replacement or trickery they do. The souls of the monks are, sort of obvious, right? They're not hidden like the froghemoth. The players see them, and they will only attack if the players just kind of go up and grab it. However, if the players, through some kind of trickery, bargaining, or interaction with the monks, can convince them, that they're the duly appointed representatives of heaven and they're here for the regular lotus pond cleaning and are moving the master to the next level of heaven, the monks will not attack. So we've got, sort of two levels of difficulty this combat. You're either fighting, a giant frog plus 3 monk souls, which you're probably going to stat down to, since it's a level 3 party, like level 1 monks or level 2 monks. Yeah. Or they just fight the froghemoth.
I like it.
That's a pretty cool combat encounter. So we've got a shallow pond. This creates some interesting terrain opportunities. I can imagine the pond being surrounded by some flowering banyan tree-like things. I could even imagine I would mix this up and make this really wacky, where gravity, for example, in the master's room is morphic. So if the players can walk on the trees and on the ceiling and stuff like that, give lots of fun opportunities, You always want to design the space a combat encounter is happening in to make it a little more exciting. Any other things to add to the space of this
No,
one?
I think this is a great... Yeah.
Pond.
I think this is great. Yeah. Yeah, so this brings us to our final section, which is the escape. And
how do they get out of heaven with contraband?
Yeah, if they've already fought a Froghemoth and potentially
Celestial Froghemoth,
then probably don't want to make them battle their way through too much. This is where I imagine the combat taking place, Matt. I was thinking they would encounter either a competing party or a small group of demons or devils that had been secreted in here to challenge them or try to steal the Lotus themselves. But if we've already got the Froghemoth encounter, then we can just skip that and have them try to sneak past the docent and the gatekeeper with the Lotus in tow.
I would actually remember with one-shots and campaign arcs, often less is more.
I agree.
We had a similar encounter where they had to talk their way past the docent or get information and sneak their way past the gatekeeper. Why don't we have the agent of the Lady of Pain give them some item, break in case of emergencies, so that once they're out of the Acropolis of Enlightenment, they just simply say these magic words, draw, a circle on the ground with chalk, and then it's a portal back to Sigil.
I love that. That's great. Once they have it, they don't have to, retrace their steps. They can just, click their heels and they're headed back to Sigil.
And actually, here's what I'm going to say. It's like a magnifying glass or a crystal that they hold up to the bright sun of Celestia, and it casts a shadow that is a portal. That way they can't use it inside the Acropolis, right? Because I don't want them to just pick up the Lotus and one of them to teleport out without the rest of the party. So it is a thing that casts a shadow that will get them back to Sigil. I'm going back over our notes, and I think we got a pretty great adventure so far.
I think so too. It's a solid heist.
Now they are back in Sigil. They easily go to the agent, and they can give the agent the Lotus Flower. This will, forever lock good gods out of Sigil or preserve the boundaries that the Lady of Pain keeps. Or we need to decide what exactly the knowledge in the Lotus Flower does. We need to spice up our quest giver, this agent of the Lady of Pain.
Right. I think this is a little bit.
And then we need to add in our twist. So now looking back over our campaign, where should we have perhaps one, perhaps two agents of demon lords or archdevils ask the players to give them the item instead for a greater reward?
So I see two places for this. The first is either mixed in with the petitioners of the Guru outside the gates. They're approached by one who appears to be a member of this troop, but they actually are, a devil in disguise or a demon in disguise, and they make them an offer. Or they are whispered to by a different soul while traveling through this this Acropolis of mortals, who makes them an offer on behalf of one of these devils or demons. Those are the two.
Por qué no los dos?
Por qué no los dos?
Devils are lawful.
Ooh,
I can easily see them fitting in with the petitioner, monks, and followers of this guru. They're the devil in disguise among the petitioners. They subtly hint, specifically seeking out the weakest, most vulnerable PC who's most likely to give in to temptation. Demons, chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
I particularly like the drawing of the Great Wheel for Pathfinder, where the abyss is below all and cracks of it run throughout the multiverse. And that's not usually how it's done in Dungeons and Dragons, but I could imagine in this Acropolis, right? No law can ever fully keep out the power of chaos. Perhaps there's a room somewhere in the Acropolis of Enlightenment where the tiniest fraction of chaotic evil is seeping its way through, and there the players can, speak to this demon.
I like it.
All right, so that's one more thing to add to the Golden Lotus, right? We add in sort of the demonic incursion, a part where the players are wandering through where things feel not quite right.
They have they're going to be a very creepy sort of encounter, something entirely out of place. You can play that up if you feel like it.
I see no reason to reuse the Devil in Disguise petitioner. He or she will agree to meet the players in Sigil at a specified location should they choose to give him the Lotus. The demon,
I think the demon we need to come up with to just destroy the Lotus. The demon wants them to just rip it up or stomp it or burn it or something like that. That will be that will be what the demon wants of them, and that will be their way to fulfill the deal with them.
Excellent. What would the players get out if they did so?
Let's just say the demons offer wealth beyond imagining. Let's do something simple for the demons. The demons aren't complicated. They don't care. They have, from centuries of slaughter, lots of gold. They say, if you do this for us, we will reward you with, unimaginable riches.
And I would say I like making the devil just a little more sympathetic, right? Perhaps
yes,
this guru's teaching was against chaos, and the devil says, if you give us his soul, which holds the secrets to connections between the planes, once and for all, our armies can stomp out the ultimate chaos demons, right? We can win the blood war.
I do think that we should make the devil's argument compelling. Should make it somewhat reasonable.
So here we have options for the players when they return. They can give the Lotus to the Lady of Pain's agent. They can give it to the devil, which makes a compelling argument with some minor rewards. They can give it to the demon, which is probably very dangerous, right? We should let them know it's a little dangerous.
Your players would be very foolish to take that choice, but it would be
great rewards.
Great reward, yeah.
Is there another option for what the players can do? Should there be a hint that if they, for example, meditate under the Lotus themselves or each consume a petal?
I was going to say that the final option is to keep it for themselves and either release the soul or commune with the soul of the guru to gain knowledge of the multiverse. And I would say we could maybe leave that open-ended as to how that would play out.
And I would say we could give some stats for it, but suggest the hook to the DM that should the players choose this option, this is super great because then the players become the MacGuffin themselves that everyone is looking for.
Then they have the knowledge that people are seeking, which would be a great either launching point for their campaign or have them as the focal point of somebody else's campaign. I like that.
Yes. Here's what we need to flesh out before we wrap up and summarize and see if there's anything left to do on our adventure. We need a compelling agent of the Lady of Pain. He or she should be scary, weird, charismatic, or somehow really interesting. And we need to flesh out what this knowledge exactly is. We don't have to pin this down and stat it out like a magic item, but we should have a little more idea of what exactly the knowledge is within the soul of Guru Kabir within the Golden Lotus. What else? That's what I can see.
No, I think those are the two key points. I agree.
So the agents of Mr. Johnson. Let's come up with a flavorful Mr. Johnson.
So I'm imagining. So this whole time I've been imagining a tiefling, probably. I'm going to say probably a tiefling. Not super unusual looking, but distinctly, plainer, wearing I'm going to say probably an extremely nice outfit, probably a suit of some sort, male, or if it's a female tiefling, a pantsuit, a really nice
waistcoats,
powerful power suit.
Oh, then we're gonna have to make the Devil in Disguise an Asmar. He works for the Arch Demon Lord Archdevil, which one was the fallen angel? I don't have Mordenkainen's in the other room.
Yeah, no, one of them is a fallen angel, and I already forgotten who it was. But yeah,
I'll edit in me saying
I think
the
it's
correct
Zariel.
word right here.
That's the one with like the smiting. I think it might be Zariel.
Yeah,
Anyway.
Ariel. So it's the person working for the devils is in fact an Aasimar. The person working for the Lady of Pain is a tiefling.
Perfect. I love it. So yeah, so
And
a well-dressed
good tiefling name, well-dressed, pantsuits.
I mean, we can go with the classics, something like Azazel. Wait, is Azazel already a demon? Call him Lucifer or something. Not that, but
Not Lucifer.
Pick like a nice
I like a
biblical name. Something with roots, Saul or something like that.
Yeah. Saul, Soul, it's nice. So our agent could be Miss Saul, Mr. Saul.
Yep, I like that.
They are the quest giver that drags the party through the back curtain in their tavern straight to Sigil because they've identified them as someone that can do a favor for the person in control of the center of the multiverse. All right, now, so this Lotus, let's flesh it out. I think you could, if we wanted to, we could give the person holding the Lotus some powers. Perfect balance, of course.
I would say that if we want to say that the power that it gives is, let's say that the guru achieved such oneness with the universe that he is aware of where all of the planar connections are at all times, that he knows where all of the doors are to all of the different planes, and can identify them and travel through them at will. This is perfect. This is something the Lady of Pain would want to keep control over her city.
Mm-hmm. This is something the devils would want for a surprise sneak attack.
Right.
And this is something the demons would want because perhaps destroying the Lotus releases that knowledge throughout the multiverse and creates more portals and planes, more chaos, right?
Right. Losing that knowledge gives them more power.
And if the players decide to eat the Lotus, they basically have portal sight, which may be too powerful of a power for a Planescape campaign, but maybe not.
Depends on how you structure it, but you would have to write your campaign differently, but it would be a very interesting place to start.
I also like your idea. If this is a one-shot, these player characters basically become the antagonists if they choose the selfish option.
Yes.
Because with this power, they could overthrow the factions of Sigil. They could rule the multiverse.
They could.
All right. So, to sum, we have created a heist campaign. It needs a name. Players are ripped from the material plane by Miss Saul, an agent of the Lady of Pain. They're tasked with, since they're low level and generally haven't done anything too horrible yet, taking some papers to get into the first level of Mount Celestia to retrieve the soul of a newly dead and enlightened mortal, Guru Kabir. It's preserved in a golden lotus within the Acropolis of Enlightenment. The players have to talk their way past the Gatekeeper, a powerful angel. There's a mass of petitioners also coming to see Guru Kabir's soul. There's a devil in disguise. There's some other shenanigans that can happen. They may get distracted by Paradise. They arrive at the Acropolis. They meet a docent. They can walk through the thought-morphic maze and attempt to pluck the Lotus, dealing with a celestial Froghemoth and possibly some soul monks before returning to the sunlight of Mount Celestia and transporting themselves back to Sigil and deciding whether to eat the Lotus themselves, give it over to the lady's agent, to the devil, which has offered them a very compelling reason plus some rewards, or destroy it as the demon instructs.
I like it. So I think our working title should just be the Golden Lotus, or no, let's just call it the
Golden Compass.
Let's call it the Golden Lotus for now. I think we can do better, but for the time being, I think let's just call it that. And then if we come up with a more compelling title, we can change it.
We should call it Heaven's 11. What is? I'm assembling a team.
A team.
Yeah, you could even call this quest giver Miss Ocean.
Miss Ocean. Oh, that would be good. That would be a real a wink and a nod to your players.
What is the name of the river that flows through the upper plains? It's not Styx. That's the lower plains.
Oh, yeah.
Oceanus.
Miss Oceanus.
She should. That's obviously a pseudonym, right?
Yep.
But it hints at the destination the players are going to.
I kind of like that. Yeah.
We could call it the Celestial Job.
The Celestial Job. No, actually, I'm sorry, Matt. That's definitely the best. Let's call it the Celestial Job. I think that really hits the right tone.
Well, Rob, I think we did a good job of pretending that this adventure that we spent, 50 or 60 hours writing beforehand was natural and came to us as we went.
We did a great job of going over this thing that we absolutely planned beforehand and outlining it. But yeah, so hopefully
the Italian job, the Celestial Job.
Celestial
This is
job.
great.
So yeah, we will write up the actual nuts and bolts for this, and we'll put it on.
What about the Thomas Cloud9 affair?
I shouldn't have laughed at that. I can't indulge your bullshit.
This was really bad.
Yeah, I think that we'll put it up on Homebrew, and you guys can take a look. Hopefully, this will inspire you to work on your own one shots. I think that one shots are a great. So why we want to do this and why we want to do more of this, I think it's a great way to introduce new players, because it's such a low commitment. And if you have a really snappy, fun, easy one shot that introduces players to the hobby, I think that's very, very valuable. And it's something that we don't have a whole lot of. There's not a lot of really exceptional one shots, in my opinion. So
They're really hard.
they're hard to do. So we talked through this, but once we actually get down to writing it, this may get complicated. But we will put it up on our homebrew section of dmofnone.com. If you have thoughts about this or questions,
How about lock soul in 2 smoking barrels?
Dear God, enough. Let's email us at dmofnone@gmail.com. Add us on Twitter at dmofnone. And thanks for listening, everybody.
Keep rolling them dice.